But I'm going to turn it back over to Marion.
Thanks, Chris. And as we go to the beginning slides, Catherine's going to introduce our presenter today.
Thanks, Marion. This is Catherine Green. I'm really happy so many people could join us for Ruth's talk. Ruth is a non-credit ESL instructor at MiraCosta College in Oceanside, and she's been at MiraCosta for 8 years and has taught ESL for 18 years in Central and Southern California. She was also a presenter at some college transition summits, the one in 2009 in Sacramento and in Rhode Island, and she's presented most recently at TESOL in Toronto. So please join me in welcoming Ruth.
Thank you, Catherine, and hello everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you all for attending this to I feel like I've already learned a few things that we can do the next time to make things just better, smoother. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I hope that you'll find this workshop to be helpful, and I hope you'd be able to take something back with you and use it immediately in your next class. So we have two main objectives for this webinar. The first one is to be able to identify the learning and study skills students need to possess to succeed in credit programs and or the workplace. And then also to be able to begin building the programmatic and instructional support structure that learners need around them. Before we get into the specifics of this presentation, I'd like to share some background information that I feel establishes and reinforces both the need for transition programs and our efforts to help students transition. By now, I'm sure that most of you have heard about President Obama's mandate that's listed here, and his desire is that by 2020, America will once again have the highest proportion of college graduates in the world. Moving on, I'm sorry, I'm just going to move back a bit. We skipped one slide. So these two bulleted statements here highlight the need for our students to have all the support that we can give them. Without proper support, students will drop out. I think that's something that we've all experienced and just sort of know instinctively. And then also without support, it is very difficult for learners to make the transition to achieve their goals. And so I think as educators, we want to see our students succeed, and so giving them all the support that they need would be our goal. Okay, so moving on to programmatic structures. This is also continuing with the background information. The American Institute of Research did a study, and they discovered the main components that a successful transition program should have. And they are access to quality instruction, feedback on performance, and understanding of the particular transition pathways, bridges or connections to next step and destination programs. Also, flexible opportunities for learning, support services, and opportunities to continue developing basic interpersonal communication skills. And this last one is particularly beneficial to ESL students, I think for obvious reasons. Now at MiraCosta, where I work, at MiraCosta, I'm sorry, where I work, the lead credit ESL instructor did a survey of her credit colleagues across all disciplines, and she was asking them what skills they wanted a student coming into their classes to possess. And the top 7 skills were oral communication, critical thinking, reading, writing, grammar and usage, study and learning skills, and then also note-taking and class participation. Now, how do you think they are ranked in order of priority? I'm going to give you the opportunity here to rank what you think are the top 4. So if you would just click on for rank number 1, 2, 3, and 4, what you think were the top 4, and then I'll show you what the results were. Okay. Looks like oral communication is quite popular. Okay, great. All right, so let's see what the faculty at MiraCosta thought were the most, the order that these 7 skills should go. So for them, they thought that writing was number 1. Number 2 was reading. Next was critical thinking. Study and learning skills was next. Grammar and usage, and then oral communication skills was number 6. Number 7 then was note-taking and class participation. So our first objective is in regards to helping students develop learning and study skills, and taking the AIR study that I referenced before into consideration. This can be done through quality instruction and also feedback on performance. So quality instruction may include a combination of deductive and inductive instruction, and also help with developing note-taking skills. Now, in regards to deductive and inductive instruction, there are pros and cons for both, but when it comes to second language instruction, research is on the side of inductive instruction. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to elaborate a bit on those two. So deductive instruction is basically top-down or general to specific. An example of this might be in the instruction of a particular grammar rule first, and then showing specific examples of the grammar rule. Now, the worksheet that you're looking at is an example of deductive instruction. The rule or formula for constructing a present perfect progressive sentence is shown, and then examples are solicited. Next, we have an example of inductive instruction, and this is bottom-up or specific to general. This is where the student looks at several examples first and then discovers the rule for themselves. This workshop is an example, this worksheet is an example of inductive instruction. Example sentences in the active and passive voice are shown, and then students are encouraged to figure out or identify the patterns after looking at several sentences featuring the targeted grammar point. Moving on, we're going to take a look next at guided note-taking forms. I'm going to just make this a little bigger so you can see what this looks like. So this is an example of a guided note-taking form that I use in my classroom. Note-taking is a skill learners need both in the classroom and the workplace. I usually start the term giving my students lots of guided note-taking forms and gradually wean off, allowing them to start taking their own notes. Now, for lower level students, the guided note-taking form may be projected on the screen, and the learner can simply copy what the instructor is writing to fill in the blanks. For higher level students, this can be a dictation exercise. Towards the end of the term, I stop giving the guided forms and may simply say something like, take out a piece of paper to take notes. By then, most students have learned how to focus on the key information. I'm usually thrilled to see some of them highlighting what they feel is important to remember. So moving on, let's see. In regards to feedback on instruction, feedback contributes to our students' learning and study skills. When learning something new, we all like to know how we're doing, and our students are no different. They appreciate getting feedback on the work that they do and are able to learn from this feedback. Now, non-credit programs do not give grades that go onto a student's transcript, but the giving of grades may be worth incorporating into our classes, especially at the higher levels. It does not have to be a grade that goes beyond your classroom, but this gives the student an idea of what to expect when they transition to the next stage of their studies. Years ago, I purchased a license for a grade-keeping program that I use to give a report card to each student at the end of the term. And the screenshot here is for a website that features what they consider to be the top 5 grade-keeping free software. And the specific web address for this website is one of the downloadable pages that you will have access to at the end of this webinar. I'd like to mention the relationship between persistence and successful transitioning. Self-efficacy is one way to improve persistence, and as a result, transitioning practices as well. In addition to learning how they are doing in class from the instructor, a measure of ownership on the student's part is also needed. Now, when this is in place, persistence increases. My colleague at MiraCosta, Christy Reyes, incorporates this by having her students sign a contract at the beginning of each term and giving them a self-progress tracker. Examples of Christy's contract and self-progress tracker are on the following slides. So here we have the contract. You notice the student writes in their name and then also signs and dates the form, and then this is an example of the progress tracker. If students use this as it is intended, they usually have an accurate idea of what their overall grade in the class is even before the instructor tells them. Now, both of these are also available for download at the end of the webinar. All right. Now, this website is from the Texas Center for the Advancement of Literacy and Learning and highlights several other ideas for improving persistence. The web address to this website is also available for download at the end. Okay, so now we're going to take a few minutes for you to share. I'm going to open a couple of chat pods. The questions are at the top, and if you can take a few minutes and answer these questions. How do you provide feedback to your students on how they are doing? And then finally, what supports do you use to help your students persist? Okay, Mingo, so you verbally give feedback, and that's great. And journals, I think journals are great as well. I've always enjoyed using journals in my classroom. Give them tests, Anthony, show them results, yeah. Yeah, students love to see how they're doing. They really appreciate the feedback. Okay, CASAS, yeah, that's a great resource. Verbally meeting with students regularly. Written reports on each student for them. That's great. That's very nice personal one-on-one touch. Okay, now in regards to support, goal setting, that's huge. Oh, I like this one, Judy, inviting former students to tell class about their success. This is also very important, I think, when students see somebody that walked the path that they walked and are doing well. Gives them an idea of what they are able to do as well. Gretchen, loaner books in class for students. That's a great idea. An emergency book fund. That's wonderful. Encouraging words. Discouraging negative self-talk and thought. Yeah, I like that. Getting to know their goals. Okay, thank you all so much for these great ideas and for sharing them. I'm going to just move on now with the presentation. You may continue to type your ideas, please. Okay. All right, so continuing with programmatic structure, support structure. That may include an understanding. This is in regards to our second objective. It has to do with the programmatic support that successful transition programs have in common. And once more referencing the AIR study, the bulletin points here highlight the parts that are the parts of that support structure. So for example, an understanding of the particular transition pathways, bridges or connections to next step and destination programs. Also flexible opportunities for learning, support services, opportunities to continue developing basic interpersonal communication skills. Now at MiraCosta, what you're seeing on your screen, all students that start the non-credit ESL program receive a copy of this transition map. And it basically shows them how they will progress within the program. So you'd see they start at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then once they get to level 6 and 7, we have what we call the destination circle. And decision circle, I'm sorry. And it's at that point where they know that they have to start thinking about what it is that they would like to do after they've completed level 7. And at that point, we show them their options, which are ABE, Adult Basic Education, GED, Adult High School Vocational Programs, or they can transition directly to higher education, which would be going into the credit program for either a degree or a certificate. Next, in our level 7 class, a counselor visits the students to share with them their options after level 7. And the diagram here is part of that presentation from the counselor. Now it clearly shows the possible destinations after level 7 and where those destinations lead. So you would notice that level 7 shows them where they are, and then they can move on to ABE, which in our it's the beginning of adult high school if they score for ABE, and then they move on to adult high school, then they can go on to credit and so on. Or also from level 7, they have the option to go directly to credit, the credit program. The next diagram is a map, and this map is posted in each classroom on our campus, and this shows the next steps if credit class is the chosen destination. So for students choosing to go into credit, this map shows them basically starting with the application process, applying to the college, maybe applying for financial aid, doing orientation and so on. And it's basically those steps that are necessary before they can enroll in class and start taking classes. These three maps, the previous three that we looked at, they're also going to be available for download. So here is our next opportunity to share. I'm going to... Okay, so we've got 3 questions this time. The first one is about pathways. Do you have pathways identified for your students? And if not, what steps can you take to get there? And if yes, how do you let your students know about them? So just like last time, if you can take a few minutes and respond, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad to see that a lot of you do have pathways identified. Okay. Okay, yeah, hiring a counselor would be great. It's a great support to have. Student orientation and in-class presentations, that's also very beneficial. Workshops on filling out applications, financial aid, that's a huge help. In-class presentations, student orientations. Oh, I love this idea about a transition coordinator who works with the students. When I see mention of the AB 86, yeah. Okay, and then map or chart is a good idea and post it in classrooms for students, yeah. Yeah, I like the point that Anthony makes, that it's not just for students, but it's also for teachers. Because I think as instructors we do need to understand the pathways that are available to our students as well. Okay. Okay, let's see, it's City College, there are outreach counselors that visit the classroom. Yep. A job club, that's interesting. We teach them all of the volunteer options. Yes, I think that's a huge resource that sometimes goes untouched, you know, the volunteer options and opportunities that are available. Okay. The transition coordinators make a presentation. Yeah, these are all wonderful ideas, and I'm glad to see that so many programs have these in place already. This is great. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to move on. I'm going to continue, but again, please feel free to continue writing your ideas and thoughts. All right, so continuing on, our students are busy adults, I think we'll all agree, and they've got very full lives, and I feel like this fact necessitates flexible opportunities for learning. The desire for flexibility may inform everything from scheduling of classes to the method of delivery of curriculum. Offering morning, afternoon, evening, and weekend classes is one way to incorporate flexible scheduling. And I've even heard of some programs that build their schedules around the city bus schedules, definitely taking the students' lives into consideration there. Distance learning, peer teaching, and dual listing addresses flexibility in delivery. They offer learners the opportunity to maximize their time in the classroom. And then, finally, VESSL, IBEST, and content-based instruction are great ways to vary curriculum to meet students' academic and practical needs. Now, the website that's featured on this screenshot is a great one for more information about IBEST. Basically, IBEST is where maybe an ESL instructor works with a content instructor and both teachers are in the classroom and they are sort of co-teaching the class where the students are learning the language but also specifically learning the content. It's kind of similar to the next one, which is content-based ESL curriculum. This website, I'm sorry, hello?
Hi, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second because Yvonne has a question about dual listing. What is dual listing?
Okay, we're going to come to that. Dual listing is, I'm sorry if I missed that question, but dual listing is something that institutions determine that on their own. There are some institutions, like I worked at one school where they allowed it, and it's where a student is able to enroll in a class, and in this class you have both credit students who are taking it for credit and students who are not taking it for credit. So you will have a student who will be focusing on getting a particular grade for the class, but at the same time sitting right next to them would be a student who is doing it not for credit. There are lots of specifics, I guess, that goes into that class, and some institutions choose not to do that, but dual listing definitely gives students the opportunities that they need, our non-credit students the opportunities that they need. Is it just auditing? You know, it's similar to auditing, yeah, because they do the assignments and everything, but they are not getting a grade for that. Gretchen's question, what college does this? I think it's done at Mount Sac. Mount Sac is one example where they allow dual listing. I'm not certain about others. I know at Miracosta we do not currently do this practice. Okay. All right. So I will continue on with content-based ESL instruction. Oh, I see. Teresa is saying Pasadena City College also allows dual listing. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great, personally, I think it's a great option, again, especially for non-credit students. Okay. All right, so moving on, in regards to content-based ESL instruction, this screenshot links to a website that gives more information about what that is. And at this point, I'd just like to remind you that all of the websites, all of the links would be available for download at the end of the workshop. All right. So when we think about support, I think maybe the most obvious example of support is in counseling, both academic and career counseling. Also, though, we can offer library and tutoring services, having library and tutoring services readily available can also contribute to making transitions easier. These services are easily accessed on MiraCosta's campus. I'm talking specifically of library and tutoring. Students are generally made aware of them at the beginning of each term. We have the option to invite the tutoring coordinator and the librarian that's assigned to our campus. They come into the classroom and give a brief 10 to 15 minute introduction of the services that they offer. Also, I think incorporating mentoring also helps learner transition. Now, in one of the previous chat boxes, someone mentioned using former students, and I think this is an example, a great example of mentoring. I think it's great if a mentor can be a student and who is slightly further along the path. Also, available childcare opportunities can also help, I think, in obvious ways. In regards to childcare, this can be done by partnering with local childcare centers and maybe offering vouchers to students who are in school. I know San Leandro Adult School in Northern California is a prime example of how childcare may be offered in an adult school program. Okay. Also sharing placement assessments and also and data procedures is another way to support students' transition, and I feel that when this is done, it removes barriers. Sometimes in regards, for example, with the shared assessment, I think most programs, I know at Mount MiraCosta, we have a different assessment for non-credit and credit, but we've been able to when a student goes to take the placement test on the credit side, depending on their score, they can also be placed into certain levels in our non-credit program. So that kind of sharing, I think, removes barrier. You know, that particular student will then, if they are advised to come to non-credit after taking the credit placement test, we're not going to ask them to take another placement test, because we know based on their score on the credit assessment which level they should be placed into on the non-credit side. Data collection and tracking of students as they transition through our various programs can also inform future decisions. I noticed a few of you mentioned AB 86, and I think that was a great opportunity to incorporate tracking, data collection and tracking of students. At MiraCosta, we were able to do a survey of the community, employers in the community, just to get an idea of what kinds of jobs are wanted for students as they transition, as they move through our program. Now also, here's our next sharing opportunity. I'm going to open the questions to you. Okay, so the two questions here is, how do you incorporate flexible learning opportunities? And also, how do you integrate your support services? Okay, I see many people are typing. Okay, Vanessa. See classes being offered at various times and locations. Some amount of distance learning, yeah. Yeah, I think multiple locations is also a great idea. Computer lab, okay. Okay, open entry program. Okay, software in class and accessible from home, yep. Yeah, classroom aids, childcare classes, okay. Oh, writing tutors, that's great. Let's see, tutors work within the classroom and counselors make weekly visits to the classroom. It's a wonderful idea. I'd love to hear more about a lot of these, maybe in our the discussion after the webinar. Good marketing to inform students of opportunities, yeah. Partners to work within the community, yes. We'll continue with this too. I'd love to hear more about this, the caseworker, Pam. That's great. Adult schools being linked with community college services. That's a wonderful idea. Bilingual courses. That's interesting. That's wonderful. Okay. Yeah, and again, AB 86, partnerships between schools. I think there's such great strength in that. And it definitely meets our students' needs. Oh, this is interesting, Mingo. Cooperating with the Boys and Girls Club and offer non-fee classes to parents and free tutors to kids. It's a wonderful idea. Classes in parent centers. Thank you. Okay, these are all such great ideas. I hate to leave this, but we do have to continue. But again, please continue sharing. And this is just food for the discussion afterwards, so we can definitely continue. Okay. So, finally, helping students feel like they are part of a larger community addresses this last point from the AIR study. Most college campuses offer intramural sports and opportunities to get involved in student government and other clubs. So this is these are two ways that this particular need can be met. Now, inviting non-credit students to participate in these will definitely help them continue to develop interpersonal communication skills. I feel like this is a gold mine for the ESL student in particular, because it's another chance for them to practice the target language. Now, at MiraCosta, we do this in various ways. Non-credit has a student representative from ASG, who is assigned to our campus, and this year it just happens to be someone who started in our non-credit program from level 1. She went through the non-credit program, transitioned to our adult high school program, where she got her high school diploma, and she's now very active on the credit campus. She is, like I said, she's representing ASG on our non-credit campus. Now, we can also develop these basic interpersonal communication skills through things like language cafes and also book clubs. These are other ways to help learners feel like they are part of a community and this in turn will contribute to successful transitions for our students. All right, so here is our next sharing opportunity. So what are some other ways that we can help our students develop their interpersonal communication skills? If you can take a few minutes to share on this. Okay, if you go ahead and continue to type, small group activities, yeah, collaborative group projects, let's see, campus student leadership activities, study software skills. Let's see, also devoting time in class for peer practice or group projects. Yeah. Social activities in campus and outside. Yeah, discussion clubs. Student presentations, these are great ideas. Encouraging volunteering again. Develop school to feel like a community, not just a group of departments. Yeah, that's a great idea. Field trips, yeah, to restaurants or the library where they have to use their English. And job clubs. And school Facebook. Facebook is, yeah, social media I think is an option or an opportunity that we don't take advantage of enough probably. So ice cream socials, yeah. These are all wonderful ideas. I see Anthony is asking if there's a link to the AIR study. I don't believe that link was included, but it's we can definitely get that to you. Okay, exercise classes, and the ESL students can do together. Let's see, CTE. As a CTE teacher, I have students work in a small group creating a business, create letterhead, business plan, business cards, present to the entire class. That's a wonderful idea. Thanks for sharing that, Latanya. Students visiting students in other departments and other classes. I like that idea too. And participation in community. I think there's lots of mention of the community and volunteer opportunities, and something that sometimes may go untapped. Bringing a leader of the community to class, having guest speakers are great options as well. Okay, well, I will let you continue typing. This is our last sharing option, but I do want to there's been some mention about the discussion afterwards. These are the directions for logging in to the discussion session that is going to take place directly after this. And I hope that a lot of you will be able to join us here, and we can definitely continue these discussions. I'm going to leave it on the screen for a bit so you can get these directions down. The discussion, I'm looking at Judy's question, join OTAN or this discussion. I believe OTAN is different. If you follow go to this CalPro website. Right.
That's right.
That's correct. Okay,
yes,
thanks, Miriam.
Yes, and if you downloaded the instructions at the beginning of the webinar, you have that, or I can email those instructions to everyone right after this, if that would be helpful. So, if this one doesn't have anything to do with OTAN, we're using their webinar software, so that's why the address for this webinar says OTAN in it. They are hosting us.
Okay. Thanks, Marian. All right, so I want to thank you all for taking the time to attend this workshop, and I hope that you found it helpful. And like I said at the beginning, I hope that you are able to take some of the ideas presented here and adapt them to your programs. My contact information is on the last slide, and I would invite you to please feel free to contact me with anything. And I hope to hear from you again during the discussion following right now and throughout the week as well.
Thank you so much, Ruth. There were so many good ideas, and for all of you too who are here, there were so many good ideas here, and I really do want to capture that. So Catherine had a good suggestion that we'll post the chat log with all your ideas in the eCoP also. So these are right down here on the bottom right. These are the two things that you can get right now. The first one is the instructions. If you didn't get a chance to copy them off the slide, they're all right here. So that's fine. You can get that by clicking on it and clicking on Save to My Computer. The next one, I think Yvonne asked this, is where are the slides? These are the slides taking the next steps. 8 PDF is a PDF of the slides, so you can get those here. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that Ruth did a great job of providing lots of different ideas. And so I'm asking you to join me in giving her a round of applause by clicking on the down arrow next to the little person up there on your menu in the middle and choose applause. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, thank you.
This is as close as you get, Ruth, to a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, and could you email all the ideas? We will be emailing you certificates, those of you who are here participating, and I will email you the instructions to the eCoP, and that's where everything's going to be. So you need to go there to get all the other handouts, the map that she showed, and the student contract, and the note-taking forms, and all those things will be available to you. And that discussion will be, and they'll be available ongoing, but that discussion will go through next Wednesday, so you have a chance to ask more questions and share more things and find out what other people are doing more directly in that discussion. And when I close this meeting, just seeing if I missed any, could you please repeat that again about the handout? Oh, Usha, on the right bottom box, just click on the name of the file and then click Save to My Computer, and that's how you download something. Depending on your browser, it might open another screen behind this window, and you have to go to that screen and click Download on that screen. Different browsers do it differently. Thanks, Catherine's posting the link to the group site. I did also want to say your application, if you aren't already a member, has to be approved by somebody in order to prevent spammers. So it's not instantaneous. So don't be dismayed if you aren't able to get on right away, but you will be able to get on within 24 hours. Okay? So thank you so much, everyone. When I close this meeting, another window will open up with an evaluation, and we would really, really appreciate your feedback.
Yes.
And thank you, Ruth.
Wanted to thank
Yes, thanks.
Ruth especially and Marion also for overseeing this and for everybody to come on a Friday afternoon. We hope to see you all inside the eCoP. Happy Friday.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again to everyone.
Thanks, Catherine.